Hey guys, I am back and today I'm going to be doing a video that I've seen a couple of people do. I saw Tati do it. Um, I think she mentioned a couple of people who have done it, and it's essentially like what I would buy if I lost all of my makeup in some sort of accident or moving incident. And I kind of wanted to do this because I actually did lose all of my makeup when I was a junior in high school. Although being a junior in high school sounds really young, I was super into makeup and had a pretty sizable collection. And wearing makeup every day was just a big part of my life. And so I thought it would be cool to come in and talk about what I did and what I would do differently. So, yeah, again, I lost all of my makeup in a fire, and we went to Ulta. A family member wanted to cheer me up about the fire and took me to Ulta and was like, go nuts. And I was trying to be pretty thoughtful about what I ended up actually getting. I had nothing. I ended up picking up a moisturizer just because I knew I would need a moisturizer. And then at the time I got the Maybelline Master Prime primer that came in that black and green tube. It was the redness control one, that's why it was green. I got a Maybelline brow pencil, a Maybelline mascara, I'm pretty sure it was Lash Sensational, and their Fit Me concealer, because at that time, for whatever reason, Maybelline was buy one get one 50% off. So I was like, here we go. I can get a couple of things, save a couple bucks. It's also all drugstore. I used that $3.50 off $15 or more coupon that Ulta always has going on, or at least they did at the time. I haven't shopped at Ulta in a hot minute, so I used that. I had the buy one get one free. And then I also got a Real Techniques sponge because I loved these sponges. Not this one, obviously. This was for almost 5 years ago, so not this exact sponge, but I did get a Real Techniques sponge, and I also got this exact Real Techniques powder brush because I just think that Real Techniques brushes are so soft and so beautiful. So these were the two tools that I got, and then I got just kind of a little bit of face makeup just to pull myself together and feel a little bit better. I didn't get any powder or anything at the time. I wasn't thinking things through super well, but I tried my best. And then a few weeks later, we went back to Ulta, and I was gonna get something to kind of add on to it. And what I decided to do at the time was to get a holiday collection that had a bunch of different products. So I got the Tarte Holiday Collection, and at the time, this is what it looked like. This is Holiday 2017 for Tarte. It's got 25 eyeshadows, 2 blushes, a bronzer, and a highlight. And then it also came with a lip gloss, a liquid lipstick, a mascara, and an eyeliner, I think. So looking at all of this, I was like, this is a full face in addition to the things that I already had. So I picked this up. I used this palette like every single day for like 6 months, and you can barely even tell. I mean, there are so many eyeshadows in here, but some of the shimmers really have, I've dug some dips in. I really did enjoy using this palette. And then I ended up getting some new palettes. Like I got one for Christmas, I got one for my birthday, and then after like 6 or so months, I wasn't just working off of the things that I had purchased right after the fires anymore, and I didn't really reach for it as much, even though it is still really fun, and I do dabble with it every once in a while just because it has so many colors. And then, as I mentioned, obviously I was gifted things. A couple family members gave me some stuff that they didn't want anymore. I had Christmas and my birthday come up within the next 6 months, and so I was like, okay, like this is fine. That was really all that I purchased as a direct result of the fires, and it worked well. I think that utilizing the sale and utilizing like the Ulta deals helped kind of feel better about having to replace everything really suddenly. And I don't think I did a bad job. I think I did a pretty good job to get a full face for not an exorbitant amount of money. I mean, if I had purchased a blush and a bronzer and a highlighter, and an eyeshadow palette all from the drugstore, oh, and an eyeliner and a lip product that would have cost about the same as what this ended up costing, even if I did purchase like all like Maybelline products. So I thought that that was a good way of doing that. And now I feel like, although I don't regret the way that I did do things, I know what I like a little bit more now. I have a little bit more certainty in the things that I do and don't like. And I don't know if I would necessarily go about things the same way. So I've made a list. If I had nothing and I wanted to completely start over, here's the things that I would get. So starting with tools, I no longer am a huge fan of the Real Techniques sponges. I like the EcoTools compostable ones because they're compostable. So I would get one of those ones, the purple ones. I've had them before on this channel and talked about them before. Then I would get 3 brushes. So this Real Techniques blush brush, I think it's the perfect size for bronzer, some blush, powder, all of those things. So I think this is a great all-in-one brush. The e.l.f. crease brush, it's kind of smaller and like flatter on one side than it is on the other. It's kind of like almost square shaped bullet. And I really like this. It's really good for blending things out in the crease, building things up in the inner corner, and it's also small enough to where I can look up and drag things along the lower lash line without much effort. So I thought this is good. And I would pick up this e.l.f. Brow Duo. So it's got a spoolie and a liner side on the other, like a brow brush. So I thought that these would be good. I can do almost anything with these 3 brushes, and I own them currently. I really like them. I use them all the time. So I thought that this would be a good starting place if I needed to completely replenish my whole makeup collection. Then as far as base, I would again pick up some sort of moisturizer. I know that there's a Bliss one that I've used and really liked. There's some Shea Moisture ones that are nice. There's a Neutrogena one that I've used before. I'm not really too pressed about which moisturizer I end up getting. Probably there's a Shea Moisture like oil, or maybe an oil from The Ordinary, and that's what I would probably reach for, but I don't know. And then again, something that I've used before is the e.l.f. Camo Concealer. I would likely get the hydrating version. This is the matte, and I prefer the hydrating a little bit more, but this is a great $5 concealer. Can just use it kind of all over the face and be good to go. I don't necessarily feel the need to wear foundation when I have this on, so I think that this would be a good starter. I really love, I don't have it on me right now because I'm using up my Coty Airspun powder, but the Olay Regenerist compact, that's the purple compact. I love that powder. I've used it up before. It has a little puff in it as well, and so I would probably reach for that one just because I like that powder, and I've used it up before. I actually repressed other powders into that compact for a while until the compact got really janky. And then those are kind of like the basics from the drugstore section. And the next thing I thought I would pick up is this Nudestix Lip and Cheek, because it is a beautiful color. This is the shade Purity. I really like it on the lips and on the cheeks, so I would have a blush and a lipstick in one, and I really enjoyed this product. If there was another like lip and cheek product that was in a drugstore brand that I wanted to try, I might reach for that instead, but this is one that I currently have in my collection that I know I really like, so I decided to go with this one for this thought experiment. And then I went through my palettes. I don't have a lot of drugstore eyeshadow, and I tend to not be a fan of drugstore eyeshadow, to be completely honest. I tend to prefer more high-end palettes just because I think that there's a little bit more thought put into them. I also just, the color stories tend to draw me in more, and I really contemplated doing my Tarteist in Bloom palette, but I decided to minimize the number of products I would need. I decided to pick the Anastasia Beverly Hills Sultry palette, and that's because, first of all, neutral, good color story. I really love these shimmers and metallics. It's got like kind of this pop of color, just for a little bit of variety, but for the most part, it's got some basic mattes and some pretty metallics that I love. Good standard palette. I did a palette spotlight on this already, and I can link it down below. But part of why I picked this over like the Soft Glam or one of my Huda Beauty palettes is these two shades mixed together makes a really good brow color for me. So this is right here is the shade Twig, and then here is Twig mixed with Dystopian, and then this is a swatch of the brow pomade that I already used. So as you can see, they're super similar, so I could get eyes, brows, and use this shade as a highlighter if I wanted to. And so because I could get 3 products in one, I thought that this would be the most simple way to replace as many products in one at once and be able to get a full face with as few things as possible. I also know that I really love this palette. I know that I would get good use out of this palette, and especially if it was my only palette, and I wouldn't be like running a gamble on whether or not I would like the formula. Then there are a couple things that I'm not sure, but to me they kind of round everything out. And so if I was looking at just the products listed here, I would need a mascara. I would probably reach for a L'Oreal Lash Princess, or I've heard a lot of really good things about the Essence mascaras. I really like this mini that I have of the L'Oreal Infallible Pro Last eyeliner. So once I had all of those products, this might be something that I reach for if I had the extra cash. Something else that I really love that I think does add a little bit of value but isn't necessary if I was just trying to like stick to as few products as possible, is this NYX Thick It Stick It Thickening Brow Mascara. I do really like this product and I wear it pretty frequently. A brow gel is something that I view as nice to have but not need to have, so I thought I would include it in this kind of like bonus section of the video. And then I do love a statement lip, and so I do have this lip color, but I included 2 options for statement lips that I know I really like. They're both lip liners. One is the Buxom lip liner in the shade Scandalous, and it is a bright hot pink. And then the other is a red. It's the Dior crayon lip liner pencil in the shade Favorite, and it is a very beautiful color. So those are both of them right there. This again is something that I don't view as a need to have, but it's a nice to have. So if I did lose my entire makeup collection, I would probably buy those first products I mentioned first, and then after a couple of weeks and as I kind of got settled into whatever my new routine was, I would probably go back and reach for the eyeliner, the brow gel, and maybe a statement lip, kind of to flesh out what I already had. So that is everything that I had for today's video. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you found this interesting to hear a reflection of what someone actually did when they lost all of their makeup. I was very fortunate to where I had people in my life who were like, let's cheer you up, let's go to Ulta. But I know that in a real crisis scenario, that may not be everyone's priority. I think that while I did pick some very thoughtful products and I did like all of the products that I picked, some of them aren't to my taste now. And so I think that the products that I listed here are ones that I know I like, I know will make a full face, and are for the most part pretty affordable products. I have 2 high-end products and the rest are drugstore, so I think that it would be reasonable to kind of reach for them as opposed to trying to only buy from the drugstore but then buying a brow product and eyeshadow and a cheek product and a lip product, because at a certain point, since I know that these function in multiple purposes, the cost per use kind of makes sense for me personally. So that is everything that I have for today's video. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you are having an incredible, awesome day wherever you are, and that I get to see you in a future video. Thanks, guys.